What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today when I talk to you about Lucid, give you a quick overview of some of the data points, break it down on what's been really moving it and why I'm rather disappointed in some things. Before we get into any of that, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So Lucid is pulling back down 4.8%, 285 the low, 303 the high. So today there's a couple of different attributing factors that's causing Lucid to go back. One is just a lot of last minute jitters associated to CPI. So CPI is coming out on Wednesday. Forecast right now is 2.9. And so a lot of individuals, even myself included, feel that even if it comes in line with expectations of 2.9, it is still relatively high. So that could in among itself still prompt a pullback. So it's kind of a lose-lose scenario. That's point number one. Secondly, there was this that did come out. So Biden proposes new export curbs on AI chips. So really dampening the whole tech sector. So both of those are really causing Lucid to go down, and even over and above that, Lucid's own technicals aren't looking all that great. Aside from that, no actual news associated to Lucid, no SEC filings, nothing like that. So it is just kind of piggybacking off of the broader market. One thing I do want to bring up though was this posted by Lucid Air. If you haven't followed them on Twitter, definitely do so. A lot of good information. But there was a recent match, football match or soccer, depending on what you call it, between Real Madrid and Barcelona. Spoiler alert, I believe Barcelona won 5-3, but nonetheless, outside Lucid had the police vehicles. Sorry, not Lucid, but there was police vehicles there, and so I guess indirectly it kind of looks good for Lucid. So hopefully Lucid kind of catches on to a lot of this and what investors and just the market wants, because I'm sure that did draw a lot of attention just seeing these absolutely beautiful vehicles outside of the stadium. So when it comes to, for instance, the next World Cup, with where it's located in Canada, the States, and Mexico, Lucid better post themselves outside every actual stadium. I think that would be key, very good for marketing, and you don't actually have to pay for full-on advertising. Just plop yourself there and put maybe a small little booth or just one or two people around there just to ask or answer questions. Doesn't really require all that much, and I'm sure it won't be that costly. So this is the only thing I really wanted to bring up, but there was one thing that I wanted to kind of share with you, and this is why I said at the very beginning I was rather disappointed, and there is this right here. So shorts. Right now the short interest is 18.92%. You are seeing that correct. A very notable jump down. 225.44 million shares overall are being shorted. It does just kind of point out that there's 46.37 million shares being returned today. That is not correct, but there is 2 times per month when the NASDAQ does disclose the true amount of shares being shorted. And so it was just disclosed roughly around an hour ago that as of December the 31st, there was 220.48 million shares, 18.51%. So that does mean that between December the 13th, which was the last disclosure, and December the 31st, there was 53 million shares returned. So going back over to the actual share price itself. So on December the 13th, share price was 258, kind of peaked at 330. And even on the 31st, it looks like it was at 302. So between that time period, shorts returned 53 million shares. So this is kind of the downside of options, and just in general, just Lucid didn't really have a squeeze. So it's unfortunate. I gotta say, I'm very disappointed by seeing this information. In general, again, it's kind of the glass half full kind of scenarios. Some people might be happy the fact that shorts did leave, but I feel like that is true. It's good that they left, but at the same time, it didn't really do all that much to the stock price. So it's kind of good and bad. So what's your viewpoint on this, with it being 18.92% shorted right now? But moving over to options, 1.39 million in calls, 172,000 in puts. 68% of all the options being done today are neutral in nature, and that's largely stemming from this. So of the 936,000 done between 9:30 and 9:35, 911 was done in one transaction, and that was neutral in nature. So it was a 250 call, January 16th, 2026. It was sold, and obviously it's neutral because of the actual strike price and the premium that was paid. So again, that's kind of the basis of that. Aside from that though, looking at the call options, there is a consensus for it to be above 350 for this week and then $4 for next week. So still a good amount of optimism, but even the bears, though, they are anticipating a further breakdown. So they are anticipating for it to be sub 250. So it is going to come down to the technicals at the very end. So I'll go over that in a second. But these are all the transactions occurring on the secondary market above $100,000. So like I've stated in the past, I know it does seem weird, the fact that Lucid is down and I say big money is buying, and that's because of the transactions right here. You have 2 sells, the rest are buys. So big money kinda is buying, just a lot of indirect things such as algorithmic trading and shorts. That is what is really pushing Lucid down, feeding off of the negativity, if that kind of makes sense. So you can kind of believe big money is buying or not. You guys do your own due diligence and whatever else. But with it right now at $2.89, it is trading between this R1 and the pivot. So 287 is going to be a very key support for Lucid to hold today. If not, then you can anticipate a further pullback. So 231 is going to be the following support level. So Lucid's technicals are somewhat iffy, and in between there you do have that 50-day moving average. So that is a absolutely key detrimental pivot point for Lucid. But aside from that, 342 is going to be the next strong target / resistance. And so no new analyst ratings, nothing like that as far as today. A couple of good articles coming out, but it's just nothing of substance, just reiterating what was previously stated by Lucid. So no new information, unfortunately. But aside from that though, on the actual chart, as of right now, it is trading below both the 100 and 200-day moving averages. So kind of signaling a breaking of Lucid's technicals, so it's not the best, all that great. One key or a couple key points to really watch for. So you have that 231, so that is a key support based on the fib levels. You have the super trend, which right now is sitting at 262. If it does break below that, then that does mean you have the algorithmic trading really working against Lucid and not necessarily feeding off the market. And then that 50-day moving average. So if Lucid does break below that, then historically, pretty much since 2021, every time it's broken below that, on average it goes down roughly around 25%. So something to definitely keep in mind. So Lucid does need to fight to get its crap together and ideally put out good news, or even better yet, just have kick-ass earnings. So in case you don't know, their earnings is slated for the 25th after hours. This is the current estimates. So negative 27 cents for the earnings per share, 206 million for the revenue. I'll continue to monitor this just to see if there's any changes in from now until then. But over the last 90 days, there has been 5 positive and 1 negative revisions to the earnings per share. So it's kind of good, but I think in reality, the market's not going to care so much about this. Rather, they're going to kind of assume what is coming next. What is your 2025 targets? And of that, how much is the Gravity going to play a big part in? Like, I've already done a video all about that on some expectations, what Wall Street is going to see as positive for their future guidance and possibly negative. So yeah, it's all going to come down onto the data and Lucid's demand. So let me know your thoughts on Lucid. Are you saddened by potentially Lucid not having a squeeze, or what is your just general thoughts on all that? Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. One final thing, pop over to my Patreon where I give buy signals on stocks, options, and crypto. Many of them have been absolute bangers, so pop over there and take a look. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.